This is a natal chart reading we're going to look at this morning. This is where we look at the big three, the little three, outer planet influences, and any major aspects or themes going on in the chart, as well as your nodal path for soul journey. We like to start with the big three. It's just a good way to look at major themes of personality and what motivates you and how you can try to align to these qualities when you're feeling out of sorts to realign with feelings of truth and comfort in yourself. So I like to start with the ascendant first because that is how we dawn on the world or how the first new interactions are interpreted through us. Sometimes this is a stronger or a weaker influence, depending on other things going on in your chart, but still important. So you have an ascendant in Leo. So a Leo rising person is going to make a first impression to others of a way of being noticed somehow. Interestingly enough, if you have your other big three signs in more yin energy placements, the ascendant in Leo can almost be a different idea or a different concept to the rest of your placements. But this is a person who needs to come into this world to show their gifts to other people and then in return receive great gifts of reassurance from people. So this is a sign of interacting with other people. A Leo rising can't do it by themselves. They're coming into this world to make that connection with other people and learn who they are and how bright they can shine by hearing it from others. It's the sign of the performer on the stage because it needs an audience to appreciate it. It doesn't mean that you have to be super extroverted. That's not necessarily the point, but it means that you have some kind of gift, some kind of energy that is expressive, that it is an energy of creating, and it must be shared. So, someone who has a Leo rising, let's just say they're very funny. That happens a lot. There's a quick observation, but an equally quick speaking out on things. So, it makes someone tend to be funny. And in the sign of Leo rising, let's say you have these really great jokes that you want to share with people, but other placements might say, no, Leo rising, don't be so brash. Don't always put yourself out there. I can't handle the rejection. Well, the Leo rising calling is to then share those jokes anyway, even if you risk not making anyone laugh, even if you risk an awkward moment that your joke was taken the wrong way. The point is that you're putting yourself out there, that you're willing to accept this level of like emotional vulnerability because that's the only way you're really going to get that gratification of knowing the joke was funny. So you say the joke anyway, and the whole room lights up laughing at you or with you because it was a good joke. Now you have earned that respect and you feel prideful, and that is the goal. If you never tell the joke, then you never risk, getting your feelings hurt, but you never get the great reward either. So that was, kind of the long way around that. But I always think it's worth saying because I can see what your sun is and I can see how maybe it's not always an enjoyable experience having a Libra rising with a Pisces sun. But put yourself out there. You have something that you need to share with people. I used humor because Leos are usually quite entertaining, but it could be a form of art or something else. But since this is your rising sign, it shows that it is something that people are going to feel from you anyway. Your first impression to people is that you are someone who deserves to take up space. So own it and be willing to bounce back if it doesn't go the way you wanted it to. Nextly, you have a sun in Pisces, like I mentioned, in the eighth house. So you have a water now in the big three elements. So this is going to make you a little bit more emotionally perceptual. You have a tendency to really feel out situations. The vibe you get from people will really determine your course of action, right? The sun is how most people would describe you if they knew you well enough, friends, family, coworkers. They would probably say that you are a compassionate person, that you have some sort of like sixth sense about you, that you can really like feel someone's having a good or bad day before they even say a word. Really good at reading body language. And this gives you an upper hand in situations because it lets you know if you really want to go there with someone. You can see if a vibe is off pretty quickly, especially in the eighth house. This is all like detective work, deeper understanding, spiritual ground. And if you can lean into that side of yourself, you really get the upper hand because you can avoid getting caught up in things that are not right for you. The other side of that, as the fish swim both ways, Pisces cannot help but be some type of compassionate martyr in some situations. This is even more true for you since you have a Leo rising, can have a hero complex, and a Pisces sun can have a bit of a martyr situation. So you put those together and you kind of have this bleeding heart ready to save somebody. So sometimes it takes these later house placements. An eighth house sun might have to go through a few heartaches because they were too giving and they in return got hurt because they gave so much of themselves that the person of interest was never able to reciprocate that level of depth and helpfulness in return. So the eighth house, it takes a while to get there, but eventually, if you have not already, you start to understand that you are more of a giver. And while that's great, you get joy from giving to others. It pleases your soul to be helpful to less fortunate people. But you start to learn a little bit of boundaries. And young Pisces really, that's the kryptonite to their style is boundaries. But as you get older, you learn not every single cause is something I'm willing to put all of my healing energy into. So you kind of learn to guide that flowing water of healing to causes that will give you some sort of return, or at least not completely drain your energy. So now we're going to move into the moon sign. And for you, this is the final of the big three. For you, it is in Libra. So you have a few different elements going on in your big three. So someone with three different elements, tend to have a wider perspective on things. They tend to be a little bit more open-minded than people who have all the same big three elements. There can be a little slower ability to be decisive, especially with your moon being in Libra. Sometimes you can weigh both causes so well in your heart that it's hard for you to make a final firm decision on something. You can tend to overthink things a little bit with that sign. But deep down, our moon is our deep emotional feelings of security. It's usually related to the relationship you have with your mother or whoever fills that for you, because that is the first place we really felt safe and emotionally secure. So in this style, now we go out into the world looking for emotional security in some of the same ways. So if you have a Libra moon, to get your emotional security fulfillments, you're usually looking for that in another person. So you have a partnership tendency. And with that, you are very concerned about the well being of the person that is intimate to you. And if they are doing well, then you are doing well. If they are not doing well, you are deeply concerned and you will put efforts into making them well. This can be another situation of learning boundaries with this placement. Sometimes Libra moon can be so desperate to be part of a partnership that they will, I hate to say the word settle, but sometimes they just don't give themselves the credit that, hey, I'm better than this. This isn't serving me anymore. I'm going to walk away. I'd rather be alone than be in a less than fulfilling relationship. Sometimes they say, oh, well, what if I don't find somebody else? I might as well stay here, at least until I know that I found somebody else. So that's just something Libra moon has to decide. Well, is it something that I'm thinking clearly about, or have I made a pro and con list too much and now I'm just confused? Sometimes the energy is overthinking and then no action. So we want to be careful of that with Libra moon. But on the plus side, with having an air sign in your big three, it does make you more intellectual, where your Leo and Pisces gives you a lot of emotional and passionate drives. Your Libra gives you kind of that breath of fresh air, the intellectual piece. There's a little bit of detachment there where maybe you are making a pro and con list about things that concern your emotional security. And you see more clearly when you really write things down in a air sign way. And you can look back and take out that emotional piece and see it more clearly. The big three, all those combined, it gives me this impression that you have the ability to really be connected to people and that you really thrive when you're in an equal partnership where you can be making the Leo rising satisfied that you're getting the recognition. You make the Pisces sun happy that you're serving someone in a way that you can experience the compassionate feelings and spiritual connectedness. And the Libra moon can be secure in knowing that they have found an equal, balanced relationship and can really feel secure. So this speaks to me on a level of really being here to connect with people and form deep spiritual relationships. So now we'll look at your little three because that is also important to the motivations of personality and more specific, but less overall frequencies. Looking to Mercury, you have Mercury in Pisces. That's nice because your sun's already in Pisces. So it gives you this presence when you're speaking that what you see is what you get, kind of talking. Your thoughts and your voice tend to reflect who you are. So you're not just speaking one thing and doing something else, or you don't say something and then go home and think, oh boy, that's not what I meant at all. You're more likely to be like, yeah, I said it. That is how I feel. And then the sign of Pisces, it's usually all about how you feel. And there is a compassionate edge to your thoughts, and your feelings really do propel your thoughts and your conversation. So if you can be in a safe space, people will really get to hear a lot more from you. If you're in a space where we mentioned earlier the vibes are off, then people will probably get a lot less out of you. There is a sense of reading people in conversation too. So you have these almost psychic abilities with the Pisces eighth house sun, and now a Pisces eighth house Mercury. So if you're not already into some kind of spiritual interest or, metaphysical studies is a common theme with the water eighth house, especially Pisces. There's this, I don't know if you ever have had experiences of like mediumship or just like really feeling something and then just knowing that to be true and seeing it is. There's some sort of spiritual connection to you in the next dimension. So if you feel that way, it's not just your imagination, although you probably have a really great imagination, it might also be a true connection to things. So write down inspired thoughts and see Did that come from me or is that coming from someone else? Can I feel who that is coming from? There might be something to that. And that's just an example. I say mediumship was the psychic potential of Pisces, but it could also just be like deep healing ability for others. A healing art might be a draw for you. Speaking in healing terms, voices, the gift of music to heal or to heal yourself. Those are all eighth house Piscean energy that I feel for you. And now we're going to move on to Venus. Your Venus is in the sign of Aries in the ninth house. Look at that, right? Conjunct your MC. So you have a destiny, if you will, to really follow your heart in life. So the more you follow your heart, the more good things will come to you because the MC is the sign of our highest potential. So when you're following your Venus, which isn't your bleeding heart of your Pisces Leo energy, that would be more Neptune, that spiritual, deep, compassionate love of never ending boundaries. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Venus, the sign of discernment. So Venus is what we love and it's what we don't love. It's our taste in things. It's what brings us joy. It's not a self-sacrificing love. It is a self-interest love. It is how I speak my love language. And it is what I need to feel joy and harmony in situations. So for you, having that in Aries means that you really do find joy in life when you let your instincts run free. When you feel free to love and to act based on instinct and intuition, good things happen for you. When you have a feeling and you don't talk yourself out of it and you really lean into the inspiration from within, you pull out some higher level of yourself. Our MC is our highest potential, our true vocation of where we should be going as far as our public reputation. People call it career because usually in our society, it is what you are able to earn, is how your value is decided, but that is not always true. It is, the biggest mastery of whatever your skill was or intention to do. So in the sign of Aries with Venus there, you have a great potential to be some type of leader, entrepreneur, a boss. And with Venus right there, it could be something to do with the arts. You might be have great taste in some type of art, and you could start some kind of business dealing out art, selling it or making it and selling it. It could be something that you just have a gift with the physical body. That Aries first house energy is interested in style. It could be a fashion project. It could be some type of self-expression that is unique to you that other people might want to know. So sometimes like life coaching, where there's something about you that you already do that's different and unique and kind of fearless in a way. And other people see that and they want to know how to be like you. And with an Aries MC, that's great. That's what you need. You need to be the leader. You've done something unique that stands out, that is your signature or your brand, and other people want to see it and benefit from it. Look how that coincides so nicely with your rising sign. Then Leo gets the opportunity to take the risk because the brand is you. You are the brand. It's interchangeable. So then it's deeply connected to critique, right? So good, people love it, and that's wonderful. If they don't like it, then oh no, like that is me. I took a huge risk. That makes Leo happy. And Aries at the end of the day wants authentic pursuits. So it is something that will be a passionate desire of yours. If there's no passion to what you're doing, then you need to let it go because you have a Venus conjunct your MC, which is needs to love. what their goal is. They need to look up at where they want to be at their best, highest potential, the prime self. When they've mastered whatever they're working towards, they need to love it. It needs to bring them joy and a sense of harmony that they've done what their heart wants. And in the sign of Aries, it needs to really light yourself on fire. Like, it needs to bring you excitement and passion too. So I hope you look forward to whatever that is and follow it fiercely. So that got a little off track talking about the MC, but we'll move to Mars now. And Mars is in Aquarius in your seventh house. So this is kind of your style of where you put like direct motion to, like what really gets you to stand up for yourself. What is your style of pursuing goals, your motivation to doing? Mars is action and it is driven. It wants to express itself and it doesn't want to be held back at all. So it's our little fireball planet of doing and moving forward. So when it is in the sign of Aquarius, it usually has something it wants to innovate. So Aquarius is a sign of innovation, rebellion, seeing how somebody does something and then knowing you could do it better. It is doing that. It's taking something and doing the unusual, the unexpected, because it is a different idea that really evolves someone's consciousness to the next level. So for you in the seventh house, it's about relationships, partnerships. It could be about the way you're willing to be attracted to someone initially. It could be physical attraction. So you might be drawn to unusual people. So Venus is taste, right? So if you have an Aries Venus, how you act in love is that you might fall head over heels for someone right away. You might have this instinctual draw to someone and believe in love at first sight. You might fall out of love just as quickly once you realize this isn't at all what you thought it was. But you're very emotionally and instinctually driven in love. You don't really need a lot of proof. You felt it, you know it. That's it. But when Mars is in Aquarius, your sex drive, how you really get physically attracted to someone, is the Mars. So for that, you might find yourself really being physically attracted to somebody who is unique, has like some kind of quirky style, or they're just unusual. They're not mainstream in any kind of way. They're just interesting to you. Like the more eccentric or just not needing to be receiving approval is really attractive to you. And what's interesting about that for you is that's also your descendant. So your Leo rising has this urge to be receiving approval from people and can be very prideful when they receive it. Their pride is fulfilled. When they do not, or they are rejected, they feel this loss in their pride. And for you, on the other side, the descendant, who you attract in your life and who you like to help learn more about yourself, where you project things, is Aquarius. Well, they march to the beat of their own drum, regardless of who approves and who does not. And that's very alluring to you. You're like, wow, like this person just doesn't care what people think. And that's so exciting. The Mars is excited by that. But what also happens with that, if Mars is having a difficult time expressing itself in your life, then sometimes we find that Mars in seventh house will project that onto their partner. So that leans into this, this argumentativeness, this war, if you will, because Mars rules war. It's this aggression. So sometimes it leads to more arguments in relationships because something is lacking in the individual to own their directness and their bluntness and following their own way of doing what they need to do. So if they are getting into arguments and relationships a lot, look at why that is. What the universe will teach us things whether or not we want to. If you're not owning the Mars yourself, the universe is going to show you how it's done. And it does that by showing it through other people. So sometimes if it's in the 6th house, it can be coworkers. If it's in the 10th house, it can be your boss. If it's in the 7th house, it can be your partner. So if you find out that you're really attracted to people who just get aggressive or like very like authoritarian, or like they're bossing you around, or they just like never are willing to compromise on things, those are all signs that the universe is showing you a projection of what you need to embody. When you do embody it, when you take on the Aquarian Mars energy of, I'm going to do this anyway, and I'm not willing to compromise on certain things, and I know that this is better doing it my way, and I'm going to stick to that, right? Aquarius is this fixed energy of knowing that they have a better idea and they're not going to fall in line to what someone else is doing. When you own that for yourself and you can see that you're saying, I still want to be part of this. Aquarius is the sign of the group. I still want to be a part of this relationship, but I need to do it my own way. I need to keep my uniqueness, and I need to do it without approval from you. And then when you own that, you attract the partner that accepts and respects that. And then you don't have to be projected onto them because you're already showing that yourself. So that's the kind of the secret of the 7th house. And you notice a lot less aggressive, authoritarian, combative energy in your life because you're owning it yourself. So let's move on now. I think that was all of the inner planets. So let's look at some let's move on to the nodes. Why not? So you have the North Node in Libra, and you have a South Node in Aries. So I think that's pretty neat because look at that. Your North Node looks like it's on your IC, and your South Node is on your MC. Interesting. So for you, releasing the South Node is what we release because we've already mastered on some level, usually in a past life, is what astrologers believe. You don't have to believe that for it to make sense in this reading. It could be earlier in life. So at some point, you've already developed the skills to make a great name for yourself in the world. People look at you like you're competent and capable. You have this autonomy about you. The Aries South Node is someone who can get things done, who people can trust, that they have this leadership quality. They don't have to be micromanaged in life. You have this respect from your jobs, your community. You make a very well put together image to the world, which is great. Who wouldn't love that? What your soul wants to accomplish in this life is a more private side. It is in Libra and it's right on your IC. It wants to develop deep roots of the interpersonal side. So if you imagine a tree, IC is the roots that grow deep down first, way down in the ground, that no one ever even sees. It's not until the tree moves up into the MC and it has these branches and leaves to the world say, oh, wow, how beautiful, magnificent. The IC is the part that no one ever sees, but if it's not strong and deep, that other side will never be able to do anything. So this is where we work on integrity, doing things even though no one will ever see it, but we know that it's meaningful work on ourselves. So this is a lot of personal growth that your soul wants to experience. It wants to have really fair-minded and virtuous roots. So in the sign of Libra, justice, fairness, even-mindedness, balance. If you have Libra anywhere in your chart, your soul, especially your North Node, your soul needs to find balance in this life. And for you, it wants internal balance and harmony. So whatever wars you're fighting on the outside of your life, in the Aries arena of your midheaven, the fruits of everything, the tree branches part of this axis, then they are, they might be going through having to stand up for itself and some turbulence out in the outside world. And you understand that that's yourself. No, there's nothing you can do about that. Things happen, and you have to be ready to fight for what is yours or what is not. You might have to be in situations of chaos and turmoil in life. You've accepted that. That's life. No one said it was going to be easy. And that's true. That's wise. You come in with wisdom to the situation. But your soul wants to know, how can I learn inner peace within myself, that it's never going to matter what kind of hurricane is going on out there? I want deep harmony, peacefulness in my soul that no one can shake me. That's what I need. And when I have that, I'm really going to understand the human experience of feeling personal serenity. My soul has not experienced that yet, and that is what I need in this life. So it's a lot of inner work going on here. In the sign of Libra, it makes me think, if you haven't ever had counseling, that's a good way to manifest this energy. Some deep, you might even be good for like a past life regression with your eighth house energy too, if you've ever looked into that. I've never done it, but I'm very curious about it. But this kind of energy to me makes me think like healing past life trauma, or even early of this life trauma. Sometimes the eighth house sun has like deep rooted mother issues, or they inherited some kind of generational trauma that is not theirs, but they have to clean it up. So all of this energy, it holds you back from reaching that North Node inner peace that you're really looking for. So this is a way that you can, I suggest some kind of therapy. It doesn't have to be past life, but some type of one-on-one, right? Because Libra is all about partnership, one-on-one interaction. So therapy seems like a traditional route for that, to really work through some things, to dig deep, right? There's deep roots in yourself, because that's what your soul wants this life. And it wants to do that, to experience that peaceful feelings. And it's pretty close to your moon too, because well, it's not a conjunction. It does speak to your emotional nature, right? Remember, we talked about your moon being in Libra, but now your North Node's in Libra too. So all that subconscious energy is something that we really need to listen to. The partnership energy as it pertains to yourself, your inner peace, but also as it pertains to anyone that you consider an intimate relationship in your life. You need peace in that relationship with yourself, and that relationship with your partner of most intimate self, which is still yourself too, but it needs to be one that brings you a sense of peace and harmony. Serenity is the goal of the Libra placements. Feeling relaxed, letting your guard down. If Aries is the south node, the south node of being ready for war, Libra North Node is the one that can finally put down her armor and know she's in a safe place. So let's see, any major aspects going on here? You have this lopsided, what we call a seesaw energy of this energy. So you have Venus, South Node, and Chiron all on the MC. And then you have North Node, Pluto, Moon, and even Uranus, sort of, right? And on the opposite, Jupiter in this type of seesaw chart. So you have a lot of personal third and fourth house is our personal family, private life. It's like the third house of siblings, how we grew up, our family life, early childhood, the type of legacies that we inherited, how we learned to be, where we got our views on things. And then the opposite of the 10th and the ninth house is our public life, career, higher education, leaving home to go explore how other people do things. What is on the other side? What's out there? The big questions in life. So for you, you have this pool of what's taking your energy. Do you put it into your neighborhood and your siblings and your family? Are you involved in some type of PTA or HOA and you get involved in that? Or do you just want to drop everything and go to Europe and go backpacking and see what happens out there? Do you want to be caught up in your work to climb up and be the best version of whatever professional entity you can be? So there's this power pull between, but I think in your case you have so much mixed energy between the two. Usually I like to say move towards your north node, but with Jupiter and Chiron in the 10th house, I feel like it's saying for you is kind of learning that there's opportunity in both. I was hurt by Chiron is what hurts us. Your south node, there was pain early in life or this past life, and it was maybe public humiliation, or you got um, overlooked. You know, Aries hates getting overlooked, or you lost the war. You fought as hard as you could for something, and it didn't happen for you. There's pain with that, of feeling that something was yours and it was taken away, and maybe it was costing you a promotion. Would be the Chiron or the 10th house, but with the south node right there, it makes me think maybe not a promotion because it's usually a earlier in life wound, but somehow you became victim to something that was out of your control, or it wasn't something that ever really was forgotten. It's a public situation. It's high. It's it's something that many people knew of, or it was something away from the home that hurt you, and it makes you want to crawl back into your home life or your inner self and not be so publicly vulnerable. But see here, your mission is to rise above that and to realize that we all are going to have some type of battle wound, because that is life. And we can't just stay complacent and settle for things in life because we don't want to get hurt. And look how that talks to your Leo rising too. It's the same thing. It's this theme now that we have in your chart. Do I risk it, or do I stay back and settle and play it safe? And you know, the answer has to be no, I don't want to play it safe. I have all this opportunity. Jupiter's in my 10th house. I can still make a public name for myself, or I can do things differently to where I can have this public life that I still am proud of and excited about. I don't have to keep all my dreams low and small because it didn't work out for me before, or I have reason to believe it's not going to work out now. I can dream big. My healing, because Chiron's how we got hurt, but it's how we heal too. My healing is in shooting high and aiming for the stars. I have to do that because I have to heal and I have to show others that they can do it too. So if I hide back or I don't dream as big, then I'm not going to be able to help anyone else either. And that's where I really heal, is when I can pay it forward now to other people. So it's just saying that as much as your north node is wanting this, you know, deep roots in yourself, is it because your tree is still growing? That's what I think. I think you still have this tree, I like that, of your MC that has more fruit to bear because other people need to see it too. And that's how you heal through this. But it's going to be through following whatever that passion is, that burning desire, the ability to be a trailblazer in something that is unique to you, and doing it, you know, maybe even with a scarlet letter on your shirt if you have to, but it's never, you know, it's never something that you have to hide behind. So wear it proudly and make your Leo rising happy too. And in return, bring a sense of peace to your inner self, knowing that balance is your goal. You can have it both ways. Oppositions are not always choose a side. Oppositions can be Libra influence. You need to make room for both of this in your life. You need to make room for how much energy you have and how much you're willing to influence people in both areas. Make yourself strong and then give to others. Let's see here. Saturn in the first house. These are outer planets now. I just wanted to touch on real quick since we haven't looked at that. These are outer influences, our great teachers. Uh, you have a Moon Pluto conjunction. Sorry, we'll come back to Saturn. Conjunctions always are the most important. So when two planets merge together, they're a superpower. Sometimes a Moon and a Pluto coming close together can be some type of power struggle with mom figure. Again, you have the Sun in the eighth. So let me know if that is your case. I'm curious now, because there's usually some type of mom wasn't able, or whoever plays the maternal caregiver role, who was supposed to really build you up in life. Did they fall short? Were they somehow taken out of your life at an early age? Were you separated from mother? Do you have wounds in your heart because you were never able to receive that type of security early on? The the emotionally neglectful mother could be the sign of that too. It's some type, usually, it's some type of mother wound, and it makes it feel in your third house. It makes me feel that it was in like a school year kind of age where you felt isolated or different from other students or peers. And it's usually some type of self-esteem related issue because it's this emotional piece that you didn't get to have to feel secure. So you always had like this I'm different than them kind of mentality, even though Libra really wants to be part of something. The challenge here is looking inside and being okay with that you're not. And I think this kind of leads on to where your North Node is going, because maybe you didn't have those deep roots when you were young, and now you have to do them yourself. But maybe that's the point, is that your soul didn't want other people to do it for you. Your soul came here to do it for you. So it had to take away something early on so that you wouldn't already have it, because there's no work to do if you've already got it. So usually that's what it means. Some kind of, or it could be some kind of controlling mother, some overbearing mother figure. It could be father if he was the one that was more taking care of you. Some type of place where you didn't really have a space to emotionally develop, because there's either an overbearing controlling or there's an absence of it. It's never a balanced situation. And that's actually what you really needed, was a balanced, uh, emotionally stable environment. And you maybe didn't receive that, or you went to a school that was crazy, or your siblings were those people to you. Somehow you were either emotionally controlled or emotionally neglected, and there's some pain there. But really it's the tools to now we know why that is. So the goal here is to, heal your own inner child. So even at whatever age we are today, well, what did you need back then that you didn't get? Give it to yourself now. Guard yourself, guard your heart and your emotional nature from people who still try to overpower you or are not there for you as much as you need. Own your emotional feelings and be confident in your ability to receive what you need to receive from people, or let them go. Don't let people hold you in these emotional manipulating ways just because they're family or just because you've been with them for so long. That's that's not going to help heal you. Okay, Saturn in the first house can be some restrictions. It's a wide conjunction to your ascendant, so I won't call it that. But I think when Saturn's in the first house, there can be some restrictions in how you physically view yourself. Sometimes people say there's like some illness early in childhood, or you always felt like your body wasn't quite it can be a late bloomer situation. Maybe high school wasn't where you peaked, but your friends did. Um, but it's this less is more, because later in life you build this understanding that taking care of your body and taking care of yourself, self-care is important. And you learn the more that you put work into yourself, the more that you're going to really respect your body and what it can do for you. Where other people might just get away with eating whatever they want, maybe you don't. And you've learned that self discipline for my body is something that really makes me feel even better. And I'm not going to take this body for granted. And even later in life, there's more reward for that lifetime of self discipline when it comes to your physical body. Maybe you have a really great workout routine now that you put first that no one can interfere with. It's the mastery eventually of how to take care of yourself. And that truly becomes a gift because there's longevity in that. And let's see, you have Neptune in your fifth house. So you might be a very romantically natured person, complements your Pisces sun, I mean, because Neptune is ruled by the Pisces and Pisces ruled by Neptune, you have an ability to fantasize what you'd like in your romantic life, the house of love, affairs. Hopefully that brings out a fun, adventurous side of you in Sagittarius that you can really get away from it all when you're in a romantic affair with someone. So make sure you lean into that. That's a strength. Jupiter in the 10th house we spoke on, and Uranus in the 4th house. Again, sudden change, interruptions in the home life, maybe in early life. Seems like maybe there was a rocky start to your life. The good news is when all that's on the bottom, then you have the rest of your life to find balance and stable ground again. So this is something that you couldn't control younger. Outer planets we cannot control anyway. So there's sometimes these sudden changes in the home life. Maybe you moved a lot. Maybe the moods of the house changed suddenly on you. Maybe there was switching schools or anything like that you really didn't have control of that brought spontaneous change. It could still happen now. It could still be something that maybe you just move a lot, or maybe you like to redo your house a lot. Maybe you suddenly have people come and go from your home. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just something that maybe you have an open door policy and people come and go. And it's just that you becoming accepting that change is inevitable. And even when we feel like we're the safest in our homes, change is still going to happen. It's something that we have to be able to adapt to. I think those are all the major points I wanted to make. I know that was a long reading, so I'll stop here. Over 45 minutes is usually too much to contain. So I will end here. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to hearing back from you. Take care.